So about the teaching. So when I started teaching around 1969, a long time ago, there were almost no guitar teachers, especially no educated, studied guitar teachers. So our experience as beginners back then was very different from what a young guy or kid would experience today, concerning the choices, the materials, everything, the methods. We were very obedient kids back then, so we learned as the teacher wanted. So if you wanted to play electric guitar, like everyone wanted at that time, myself included, there were no options. You could only teach yourself. So we were all mainly self-taught. And this left in myself, although I'm convinced of the way that of my personal path, the decisions that I made, my personal development, still it left the longing and the desire to change this and to become a teacher and to offer what I have been missing. And so I started teaching very early, I think at the age of 13, 14. And I started teaching my mates, the sisters of my mates. Then I started teaching my teachers in school. So they were real adults and I was a kid, but they took lessons from me. And then I started teaching at the music school professionally at the age of 17 and went on like this. And surprisingly, at the age of 24, I got this position in Hanover. And being a professor in Hanover till today, so now my 43rd year in that institute. Some things in the German system and especially in Hanover left me unsatisfied. So I also applied in Lucerne, Switzerland, and 1988 I started, well 89, I started there as well. So I had two positions parallel and I did this also for 22 years. So I've spent really most of my life teaching. And nowadays, I mean, beyond the regular professorship, I teach many people online, especially Chinese people, preparing them for studying or trying to improve what they are doing. And although I'm retiring next year, I think teaching will be my life till ever, independently of playing. I think it's not an aspect of how much to spend in this or that field. Teaching is a destiny, as I see it. I have to do it, I must do it, I have a mission, and I follow this mission, absolutely, and will be the last thing I do in my life. So I owe a big step in my career to my first CD recording, the complete sonatas and partitas for the violin. I think I was the first person to play this in original keys, so no transpositions. So G minor remained G minor, and also I didn't add any notes or reduce any notes. So I just played the violin score as it was. And this was a clear statement that I wanted to make after a long time of preparation. And back in those days, in my early 20s, and I messed around a lot with transcriptions. I did what everybody does, Scarlatti and the stuff. I must say that this piece in particular, the Bach sonatas and transcription and partitas for violin, was always my project because I felt the guitar can improve something about it. The guitar can be better than the violin, than the original instrument in some aspects. I think I could bring out certain things in the composition, certain qualities that I was missing from most of the violin renditions or the violin as an instrument for polyphony as such. So I felt an urge to do that. And coming from there, I say there's no reason to play anything on the guitar that's not written for the guitar if you cannot play better than the original instrument. I don't want to be behind. I don't play piano music. I don't play anything else. I only play original. And the longer I play the guitar, the more I've been delving into the repertoire. I've enlarged. I've really played everything, almost everything. And since 10 years, in the end of my life, I'm tending more and more towards original guitar music, not only that it's intended to be played on the guitar, but also composed by a guitarist. Talking guitars, I mean, again, I made some really obvious statements in the last 15 years. So I recorded Johann Caspar Merz on the original Scherzer guitar. It was an incredible effort to get this guitar made because it's a real replica of the original, of the guitar itself. Then even further, I got a replica of a so-called Bogengitarre, a Terziner 10-string, which is a unique instrument, just exists once from the Vienna school. And I did everything to get the replica of that very instrument, to play Kapsberger Renaissance lute music on it, which is exactly the same range. And you can play the tablature right away. So I had a strong tendency in the last 10, 15 years towards playing, especially 19th century or earlier repertory on the instruments that they belong to. And I see a huge gap between the Viennese school, Italian Viennese school, and the Spanish-French school. So Saur, I played on the modern guitar. Giuliani or Merz, all this, I now play on the Viennese guitar. Because I think that's a different sound. It's like you have a Stratocaster or you have a Gibson Les Paul. It's just a difference. And in electric guitar, they have this sensibility. Yeah? There are certain riffs that need a humbucker pickup and need a fat Les Paul, and there are other sounds that need a Telecaster or Stratocaster. And I think Viennese school versus Spanish-French school is exactly this. And I really encourage my students to explore this and to learn about it as soon as possible, to get aware. Apart from that, my personal instruments, I have been buying guitars and working with luthiers all my life. I bought really literally hundreds of guitars and sold them. I have my special customized guitar with very, very wide fat necks, like baseball bats, and as wide as a as a table, because I found out that this is ergonomically better for me, and maybe for many people, and it sounds better. And I prefer maple backs. I really love maple backs and satin wood and these kind of things. So very ancient ideas. Only spruce. I play only spruce tops since 1987. Never touch anything else. And I despise double tops. I really hate them from the ground. And if a double top guitar is a guitar, I would not play guitar. I would quit it. Yeah, when we talk about chamber music, me personally, again, I have a long development behind me. When I was starting as a student, very young, I had no clue. I mean, I was asked by friends, let's play duo, and so I didn't see the point. I wasn't good at reading music. I wasn't capable of playing blind, so like just read music and hit all the notes. And so there were so many handicaps. And I was a jazz musician back then. I played saxophone, I played in bands. So I was very satisfied with my, let's say, socializing in music from that. So this is something I learned lately. I started really seriously end 80s, beginning 90s. And I was playing a lot with a string quartet back then. Then, when I was asked to do a concert with flute, I refused it. I didn't like that. I saw myself as a soloist. I didn't want an angel with blonde curly hair playing next to me, as it always was. Later I understood that this is great repertory, and I had to learn all this. And then I played with many guitarists, special guitarists like Farid Haag, Timo Korhonen, guys who were very interesting for me and very inspiring, lute players like Stephen Stubbs. So that was also a process of learning and understanding. And I had to learn by myself, I had to understand by myself the importance of chamber music. Nowadays, with all the background now, with all the experience, having played with so many string quartets and so many different musicians, now I see I always underestimated. When I was young, I was stupid. I underestimated the importance of chamber music. Nowadays, chamber music is the only way to get into concert life. Yeah? And when I met my wife, she was way younger than me, and she was at the start of her career as a guitarist. And I said, please, don't waste your life, don't waste your time. I really encouraged her to go into chamber music instead of playing as a soloist. She was great, she was playing very well, but I understood at that point that if you want to play, and she wanted to play, go there. Yeah? So she founded ensembles, she did really a lot of chamber music with singers, with other plucked instruments, very interesting combinations, and she got one concert after the other. Really like a schedule of concerts. And not much effort. Instead of playing competitions, instead of all this incest in the guitar world, you don't get out of that. You need these other people. You need serious musicians out of the guitar world. You need to work with them. You need to be taken serious by them, and from there on, you are thriving. Yeah. So when it comes to this differences between different cultures, between different countries, concerning the guitar repertory or the guitar world, or how we call it, a scene, or we call it a culture, a different culture. I would say, having been teaching in maybe 30, 40 countries in the world, I would say yes, there are differences. You are all different. I think there is a specific culture in every country. I think I can recognize an Italian guitarist on 2 miles, and I can recognize a Latin American, and I can recognize a Chinese player. Of course, there are specific differences, and there are different issues. You know, so they have different habits. They have different backgrounds where they come from. And in all honesty, I think when I started coming frequently to Italy and then becoming like a part of the Italian guitar world, fortunately, I'm very grateful and very happy for that. I always thought that the guitar level in Italy is the highest. It's among the highest or even the highest. More musical people, more awareness, more talent, more widespread. Yeah, so it's not only focused on one capital, on one city. There are players everywhere. There are good teachers everywhere. You can find a great teacher in a village, in a small town. You don't have to go Milan or Rome. Yeah? It's a huge difference. I think Italian culture, as for music, is among the best. I can say this clearly. I found all your questions very interesting. They are really exactly what's on my schedule. So the academic system changed dramatically. So that's as first. The so-called Bologna reform destroyed the universities. That's my That's my take on this. Because before that, we were in the old idea of Humboldt, yeah, the founder of the whole system, that art pour l'art pour l'art, or the art for the sake of art, the science for the sake of science, and all this. This was the idea. And even through dictatorships, terrible times, people kept up with this. The university was never broken in this spirit. And then, with this so-called Bologna reform, bureaucrats, politicians took over, and they said it has to have a purpose for the society or for economy. It's not like you do this for the sake of doing this. It's not like you go deep because you need to go deep. You do this for a purpose. And this change destroyed the spirit, and I must say I'm kind of happy to leave this system. So Italy had the conservatory system, and I think this was great. And I think I'm afraid that the Bologna system damaged this in Italy, and it's damaging the basic idea everywhere. People are not very aware about it because they have no experience and they don't question anything. I have experience. I can really say for myself, it all took the wrong way. And nowadays I say, for young guys, I say, you don't have to study. Take lessons with me. Don't believe in these institutions. The papers you get are worth nothing. The Chinese people, they believe they need a master or a solo or something. It's worth nothing. They go back and become Uber drivers. Better study, play with musicians, make chamber music, become a musician. That's all. And these schools and these institutions, especially in Germany, don't make you musicians. Absolutely not. The direction I'm moving on. As I said, the teaching is my natural way of being, practicing and playing as well. So I never ever had plans. I was never thinking of the future, not ever. I just did what has to be done. So when a project popped up, it came kind of out of nowhere, yeah? Just by intuition. And then I felt I have to do it. Then in retrospective, when I look back, I saw, no, behind every project there was a deep desire which started somewhere. And then it kind of lingered underneath, and then it popped up. But I must say, when I look back to all the CDs that I made, I mean, I'm very glad with my work. It's very cohesive, it's very structured. There is a clear mind behind this. Everything makes sense from the beginning to the end. And as for the CD market, as we see it today, I don't feel much urge to add in anything anymore because people are not buying CDs anymore. Streaming doesn't pay off because the effort that I take for recording is immense. And if you don't get any money, you make a fool of yourself. So I think I would be happy and I would be a glad person if I would finish recording. At this point, it's possible that I do anything. It can occur by intuition, but I don't feel this need anymore as I did in previous years. I think I bought this second home in Cyprus, so maybe I just go there and look at the sea and teach online, whatever.
Perfect. Thank you so much.